It's been a wild ride throughout the last 7 episodes of Noah Hawley's Alien Earth. There have been twists at every turn, from Boy Kavalier's hidden motives to the deaths of some important characters. As the penultimate episode of the first season, Emergence, comes to an end, Wendy and Joe are at odds as they try to escape from Prodigy's research island with the help of a xenomorph. In the season finale, the real monster, will the siblings, along with Nibs, be able to escape? Or will their conflict leave them fighting against each other at the worst time? The Prodigy Island is collapsing into chaos in Alien Earth Episode 8.
The finale begins with the xenomorph coming upon Arthur's decaying body before it moves back into the woods. It watches as Dame Sylvia takes flowers to the cemetery and places them on each of the children's graves. When she turns around, there's the alien, ready to strike. But before it can, the Prodigy security team, including Siberian and Rashidi, shoots it, which scares the xenomorph off. Adam Ines gives Boy Kavalier an update about the status of the island. Comms are down, with the lines cut and Yutani having jammed the satellites. They are not completely cut off. Non-essential personnel have been evacuated, and the Lost Boys, which also consists of a recaptured Wendy and Nibs, are being kept in a holding cell. The forces are out looking for the xenomorph, but it's killing all of Boy Kavalier's men. The other alien specimens are contained for now, but Ines thinks it's time to evacuate. Boy Kavalier isn't listening, though. Instead, he's watching old footage of Marcy's birth into becoming Wendy. The sheep containing the T. ocellus still sits in its containment unit, and the boy genius tells it he wishes he could hear its voice. Wendy and Joe are kept in separate cells, but they're thinking about each other. Wendy's also dwelling on the graves she saw as the Lost Boys discuss what it means to be alive. Recalling the story of Peter Pan, Wendy says, "We're all in this cell because we can't be kids anymore, but they won't let us be adults." Nibs thinks they're ghosts, but that gives Wendy an idea. It's time for the humans to be afraid of them. She starts to chitter, and Boy Kavalier's eyes grow wide as he watches her on the camera. Before he can do anything, all the systems start to go down. Boy Kavalier radios to Kirsh, who is in the new lab with the new, smaller xenomorph and already knows that Weyland-Yutani is on their way. But instead of being mad, the synth tells the genius to be smart. Boy Kavalier is having a hard time controlling his rage. He wants the fight. Looking at the sheep, he tells his bodyguard to bring Adam to him, before telling the eye, "I think I'll feed you someone weak."
Wendy is hunting Boy Kavalier in Alien Earth's finale.
Back inside the complex, the security team leaves Dame in her room before going back out to search. Suddenly, her computer screen begins to play video interviews from the kids as they were. "We'll be okay, won't we?" Marcy asks on repeat. Meanwhile, Joe paces in his cell with an unconscious Morrow, who comes to, but has a metal restraint wrapped around his weapon of an arm. He tells Joe that being more than human has a price, and everything doesn't even cover it. Prodigy's 4-person security team continues to roam the halls when the elevator opens with no one inside. That makes Rashidi nervous, but they all get inside anyway. However, a few floors up, the elevator stops and begins a self-destruction countdown. It's not real, though, as Wendy and Smee are watching a camera and controlling it all with their minds. She pauses on a separate feed of Joe and is hurt that he shows them, but Smee still believes that he's one of us. That's good enough for Wendy, who flicks her hand and opens his cell. Morrow immediately attacks the guard, but Joe stops him from killing the man. "I'm going to save the ones I can," he says. Morrow tells him he'd better focus on saving the children, because he's going to burn this place to the ground. Back in the lab, Morrow sneaks up behind Kirsh. Or so he thinks, because suddenly Kirsh turns and fires a gun, and it's an all-out brawl between synthetic and cyborg. Morrow breaks Kirsh's back, and as the white fluid starts to leak from his mouth, Morrow tells him that man always wins. Don't be so sure about that, because behind him a glass window shatters and something escapes. Distracted now, Kirsh easily chokes Morrow out. From her cell, Wendy chitters again, drawing the xenomorph inside the building, while Boy Kavalier visits the Lost Boys and complains that he has no one to play with now. With a snap of her fingers, Wendy unlocks their door. Boy Kavalier doesn't flee, but instead comes closer, entering the cell to tell the story about his father's alcohol problems. At just 6 years old, the genius built a man-like machine, the first synth, and that was the end of Daddy. The synth became his new daddy after that. Boy Kavalier killed his own father, but because a child couldn't lead Prodigy, he built himself an adult figurehead instead. He insults the Lost Boys, calling them floor models that belong to him. When they start to surround him, his Prodigy bodyguard orders them to the ground, so Nibs punches him in the face until he's no more. "Run," Wendy tells him, and for once, Boy Kavalier listens, with others given the instructions to find Dame Sylvia and Kirsh, and Curly told to get the soldiers. Wendy is going after Boy Kavalier in a game of hide-and-seek. The Lost Boys are now in charge in Alien Earth's finale.
It's time to be very afraid now, as Adam Einz goes to Joe and tells him that Boy Kavalier has a proposal he'd like to talk about. Everything is breaking down, with the xenomorph destroying every soldier it comes across in the corridors, and Nib sneaking up behind Dame Sylvia in her room. A seriously wounded Kirsh is crawling across the lab floor when Slightly and Smee find him. He tells them to tie up the unconscious Morrow, but they tie up Kirsh instead. "Your time is done," Smee says. "It's our time now." Adam Einz takes Joe to Boy Kavalier's office. Wendy's brother is now alone, but the small containment unit is open, and the sheep stands free in the room. The alien eye jumps out of its head and heads straight for Joe. Before it can reach its target, Wendy is there and rips the alien away and tosses it to the ground. Adam Einz then attacks Wendy and easily knocks her and her brother down. He is the synthetic Boy Kavalier built all those years ago. Wendy quickly comes to, kicks the alien eye away, and freezes Adam in his tracks. Joe apologizes to Wendy about Nibs, but she's not ready to forgive. Does he not see them as people? Wendy says she likes the aliens because they're honest. She doesn't know what she is, but what she knows she is not is powerless. Elsewhere, Boy Kavalier is walking through the ruins of his wealth, never seeing the xenomorph crawling on the ceiling until it is standing right in front of him. Wendy and Joe walk in, but with one summons, Wendy tells it to kill the troops coming in behind Boy Kavalier instead. The alien easily does what it's told. Meanwhile, Rashidi, Siberian, and the other security services begin patrolling the lab as the plant-like alien hides in the shadows. It drops onto Siberian, wrapping her up whole and squeezing her to death. When Rashidi turns, Curly knocks him out. At the same time, on the beach, the alien eye finally finds a human host and crawls into Arthur's corpse. He immediately sits up, alive in some way again. Talk about a zombie. Meanwhile, Yutani's forces are flying in as Wendy walks around a cell where all their captives are restrained. Morrow, Kirsh, Adam Einz, Dame, and the boy genius. Wendy declares that Boy Kavalier isn't Peter Pan, he's just a mean, hateful man. With Einz unable to help him, there's nothing he can do but take it. The other Lost Boys and Joe want to know what to do next. As the adult and baby xenomorph crawl on the outside of the holding cell, Wendy says, "Now we rule."